Yo, today I'm going to be talking about and teaching you how to make fat loss sustainable. Okay, so first things first, we have to understand what is fat loss. Fat loss, first of all, is determined by a calorie deficit. It's a mathematical equation. It's not a secret exercise, it's not a secret food, it's a calorie deficit. Okay, now, no direct food is going to make you lose calories or lose weight or and no direct food is going to make you gain weight. Like no exercise is going to make you gain weight and no exercise is going to make you lose weight, right? It all depends about the calories. um okay, so we have two different areas of fat loss. We have the input and we have the output. Okay, the output is everything your body consumes, all the energy your body consumes throughout the day. Okay, it's all the energy your body needs to burn. Input is all the energy you put in your body, right? So how can we actually, like, what is the easiest way to attack fat loss? Is it by attacking the input or the output? And the answer is honestly a balance between both, right? Having a greater output is not by working out. You need to increase your basal metabolic rate, which you can improve by building more muscle. You can improve by doing more like walking, neat, right? Which is non-exercise activity, basically. Because just actual intentional exercise is like doing cardio and doing all of these things burns very little percentage of your calories daily. Okay, so we can control that here, and we can also control the input. Obviously, right? The more we can control the input, the better we can create that calorie deficit. So let me start off with the output. This is my blueprint, this is my guide, this is what worked for me, so I'm going to tell you what worked for me and or even what I recommend. Some things I didn't even do, but I would, if I had the chance to redo it, this is what I would do, right? So first of all, I would start with 3 times a week resistance training minimum. Okay, so going to the gym 3 times a week. Decide your split. The best split in my opinion is the one that works best for you. Okay. Same thing with resistance training. Resistance training doesn't necessarily have to be you going to the gym. It can be you doing CrossFit, calisthenics, some other type of exercise that stresses your muscles with resistance. Okay. So the point of making it sustainable, it may not be the most optimal, it may not be this and that, but the point is to make it sustainable, not optimal. Okay. And it's going to be more sustainable if you like to do it. So if you don't like to go to the gym, but you like to do calisthenics. It's yes, it's harder to progressive overload, but if it's what you like and you can do it for longer, why not? Right? That's what's going to make it sustainable. Okay? If you like CrossFit, do that. That's what's going to doing what you like. You have to understand it gives you more motivation to go. It gives you better capacity to push yourself because if you're doing something you like, you can push yourself more. Okay? And it just helps you long term because you're not going to be every day. It's not going to be a struggle to go to this place, right? I know people that like to go to the gym. I know people that like to do CrossFit, right? Depends on the person. If you'd rather do that, do what you like. That's what's going to help. Okay. Same with the split. The split is the best one. A bro split, push pull legs, Arnold split, full body, upper lower. These are like specifics, right? As long as you're pushing with intensity in the gym, it's all going to be okay. Like it's going to be fine as long as you're doing it with intention and intensity. Okay, that's what actually matters. Doesn't matter the split, this and that. These are specifics. Okay, so do the one that you can stick to longest and the one that you like the most. If you want to experiment and vary throughout time, that's fine. As long as you keep going hard and you keep pushing yourself, that's perfectly fine, right? There is no one perfect split. However, I would say 3 times a week minimum, okay, to get enough frequency to actually make a difference, right? If you can go more, do more, and then adjust your splits also to the frequency that you can actually go to the gym, okay? Then, second, 10,000 steps a day, non negotiable. Non negotiable. This will help you melt fat. Okay, this is about an hour a day of steps. Okay, think about it. If you go on a 20-minute walk in the morning, lunchtime 20-minute walk, and evening 20-minute walk, that's done. That's an hour. That's 10,000 steps done, basically. Okay. Try to overachieve this. So the more you can overachieve here, the better it is, because steps really make a difference. They're very good for you in so many things, right? Like they clear your head. Every time I know I'm stressed, every time I have something going on, and I need to clear my head, I go on a walk. Even if I don't feel like it, I go on a walk. Because every time I go on a walk, I come back more energized. Okay, this is from experience. It works. Plus, you get a lot of calories burnt. And how can you improve your steps, right? If you don't have that habit of going on daily walks, walk to the supermarket. Okay, if you have a supermarket closer to your house, walk. If it's too close, take a longer route. Go around the building. Okay, when you go to work, when you go to the gym, when you go to these places, park further away. When you park further away, you have to walk more. Okay, make things that force you to walk, that don't give you the power of choice. Force yourself to walk. Okay, these things are really going to help. Trust, walking is a game changer. Everyone I help walks. I tell them to walk, and it makes a huge difference. Okay. Also, because let me explain, right? Let me just um, give you a bit of context, right? When you're younger, usually you're more active, right? So you're also leaner. But what changes isn't like your metabolism. I used to think it's like your metabolism, and a lot of people do. It's like, oh, I'm older, my metabolism is worse. No, your life is just so much more sedentary, right? You're every day, you go to the office, you sit. Every day, you're behind your computer working. You come home, you're tired, you sit on the sofa and relax, right? When you're a kid, you're outside all the time. Every like hour and a half, you have a 10, 15-minute break. In lunchtime, you can't stop moving. You're playing basketball, you're playing soccer, you're doing it, right? It's so much more active. So it's not your metabolism, it's your level of activity. Okay, hope that makes sense. Third of all, 2 times HIE, high intensity exercise. Okay, I don't mean like a top level athlete, like doing sprints and all these things. You can, if that's your thing, but try 2 times a week. Hopefully more if you can. Okay, go on a hike, go on a run with your friends, go on a swim with your friends. Okay, or play sports. Sports is a great option. I personally play water polo, right? And I go 5 times a week. And 4 times actually, sorry. And it helps a lot, right? It's just having something that helps you, right? First of all, for longevity, because it's a higher intensity exercise, helps you with longevity as well, okay, for your heart. And you're like having fun with it, right? You're connecting with people if you're doing it with people, right? If you're going on a hike with your girlfriend or go on a date on a hike, like there are ways to work around to make both work, right? To make your personal life and your health and your activity level combine. There is a way to do that, right? Okay, now going into inputs, right? This is also an extremely important thing because I'm going to tell you your outputs, for example, in the gym, you only spend 1 hour in the gym, 1 hour and a half in the gym. So, what are you doing the other 23 hours of the day, right? Think about that. That is extremely important. What are you doing in the other 23 hours of the day? Because that's where the impact is actually made, not just in the 1 hour. Yes, the 1 hour is important, but what are you doing in the other 23 hours of the day? Are you walking? Are you playing sports? Are you eating properly? Right? Okay. So let me start off with the 80-20. 80-20 rule. Okay. This literally changed my life. It changed the way I see things. It changed the way I do things. Okay. 80% of the time, whether it be on your gym, whether it be on your diet, you are going at it 100%. Okay. You are following everything by the book. Okay, your diet, you're keeping it clean, a clean diet. Okay, 80% of the time, so that the 20% of the time that you want to eat that pizza, that you want to be more flexible, you can. It allows you to be more flexible because that 20%, if the 80% is done properly, the 20% is not going to affect it, right? We're going to affect it very, very minimally. And then as you go through time, as you experience more, you can start to manage that better, manage how much of that 20, how intense you want to be on that 20%, right? To make it impact less on that 80% and make sure your progress is good. Okay. So that's the 80-20 rule. And that applies literally for everything. 80% is diet, 20% is gym. 80% of the time in the gym, you're doing good work. 20% you're resting or talking or doing something else. Okay. In your life, your relationship, 80% is giving, 20% is receiving. The 80-20 rule isn't just for this. It's literally like a rule to live by in life. Whole foods. Okay. Why are whole foods so important? First of all, they're normally they tend to be much less sugary. Okay. They're much healthier, much more full in micronutrients, macronutrients, right? You can usually also eat a bit more of them without filling up on calories like crazy. Okay, so just cutting out processed foods, your quality of life, your mood, your everything is gonna improve. Okay, what are whole foods, however, right? Everyone's like, oh, they eat whole foods, eat whole foods. You don't know what it is. Okay, eat whole foods is if you grow on a tree, it was farmed, if it's like a fish or meat, if it had like a mom and a dad, right, or it was like from an egg, or for example like yogurt, if it comes from like a natural source of the earth, okay, not man-made, not chemical, not no, if it comes from the earth, right, if there's no process between it other than like for example milk, yes, there's a process of man removing it from the cow, right, but it's not man-made, right, it's not bent. I think you can understand, like it's not bent into being something processed, right? Okay. Third, protein biased. Protein biased just means you prioritize your protein in your meals. Why? Because protein helps sustain muscle growth. Okay? It helps with muscle growth. Also, protein leaves you more satisfied. It helps with appetite, it helps with hunger. It leaves you more satisfied, so you tend to eat less. Okay? So prioritize protein on your foods, and you can have protein shakes if you want, right? But don't make them if you want to, just to help you maybe reach your goal. Sometimes maybe it's like more convenient for you sometimes to have a protein shake or something. However, they cannot be your priority. 80% fullness. Don't eat until you are full, until your belly is exploding. Eat until 80% satiety, until you are like, okay, I'm not full, but I'm not just satisfied. I'm kind of in between. I'm like, okay, that was a good meal. When you do that, you reduce the quantity of foods you eat, reduce the calories you eat, therefore improving your chances of being and maintaining a calorie deficit. Okay. Third of all, water. Water is gonna help you if you drink water throughout the day. It's gonna keep you hydrated, right? We all know that's good. Then, if you drink water before your meals, it's gonna leave you more full because you already have something there in your stomach, right? And it's gonna help you be more full and eat less, right? Then, if you must, if you must drink sodas, I would say to limit sodas and just drink water. But if you must drink sodas, drink zero. Okay. Yes, it has some chemicals, this and that. But honestly, between destroying your calories with a Coca Cola to have a Coke Zero is so much better. So much better. Okay. Like, it's better if you just have water, honestly. But if you must, or if you want to make lemonade, for example, right? You like something like that. Also, fruit juices are extremely high in calories, so watch out for those. It is healthier, however, extremely high in calories, so watch out. But for example, what I like to do a lot that is, I don't know, I find it to be very tasty is I do water with lemon. Usually I just have water with lemon. I don't mind it. I like it a lot. Or water with lemon and honey. That's also really, really good. Okay. Little variety. Like I don't know if I've mentioned this yet or not. I think I have. But little variety, what I mean is not having a variety of like vegetables, a variety of micronutrients, of this and that. Just don't go too off track. Okay, let me explain to you why. When you have a somewhat similar diet, you're consistently eating somewhat the similar things, the somewhat similar meals that you know help you. When you do that, you don't have to be in an effort to always like figure out and trial and error, is this good, is this bad, is this good, is this bad. If you're always kind of like in the same line, within the same line, you know that that's good, you know that that's helped you, and you know it's gonna be good for you. So you don't like, it just makes it easier, just makes not tracking easier, just makes even cooking easier because you don't need to brainstorm new ideas, right? And you can cook up a couple different meals that you know are good for you that still go to your towards they still help you reach your goals, right? And then you can cycle these meals throughout time, right? This is my recommendation. This is what I do personally, right? I don't have a extremely, like, let's say I don't like one day I eat pasta with this, then the other day I eat rice with this, and the other day I eat potatoes with this. No, like, yes, I do switch it up, but not a crazy amount. And I really like the diet I have. I really like eating the same foods because all the foods I've cooked over time, when you cook a food more and more and more and more, you start to perfect the way you cook it to the way you like it. Right? You start to tailor everything to the way you like it. So it becomes better and better over time and you don't get bored of it. I've been having like almost the same breakfast for the past like 2 years. And I love it. I love it. Okay, I never get sick of it. So that's that. Another point, or second to last point, right, is track once. Like I said, if you track once, it helps you to get a notion of what it is you're putting in your body, of the impact that what you're putting in your body, of what the impact is of what you're putting in your body. Okay, if you're tracking once for like 2 months, for like 3 months, maybe even 2 weeks initially, if you want to, if you don't have a very varied diet, if you don't eat out a lot, if you don't all of these things, right? Tracking once is going to help you just put that in your brain just to understand portions, understand calories, understand all of that, understand macros. Okay, it really is going to help you. So I just recommend you do it. It's going to be a bit more annoying initially through that period of time, but it's going to help. Lastly, healthy snacks. Okay, if you know you like snacking, replace them for healthy snacks. Okay, if you know you like chocolate bars, try to make your own chocolate bars at home. I know it's like but cooking this and that. But like if you do it like on a Sunday, realistically, you don't have anything to do on a Sunday. Prep them, meal prep these bars, these things that you know you like. Experiment, try, see. Okay, this really helps you. It like honestly, it really helps you. The more you experiment with food, the more you can tailor it to your liking. The more you can tailor it to your liking while reaching your goals. It's a cheat code. I'm so serious. It's like such a cheat code. It's so good. All right. For example, me, what I have, okay, I'm going to give you an example, is I like I'm a sweet tooth, right? I like these things. What I do is I have two little squares of dark chocolate with around like 200 grams of low fat Greek yogurt with berries and kiwi and drizzle of honey on top. And I love it. Sometimes I'll have it with oats, sometimes I won't have it with oats, right? But it is so good. I love it every single time. I don't get bored of it. This is me. I don't get bored of my food because I really like the way I cook. I really like my food. Okay. Okay, now hacks and extras. Cold water. Every time you have water, right? Have it cold. I'm not saying every single time, but a good amount of time at least. That's helped me a lot, right? And even though cold water doesn't burn a huge amount of calories, it's not a huge thing it's gonna make, and it is because of the cold water that you're gonna lose fat. No, that's not true, right? However, these little things over time compound and they make a difference. I'm telling you this from experience. It's what I don't know if it's the water itself, but at least that's what I've noticed. Okay, so this is why I think drinking cold water is good, right? Because your body effectively needs to burn calories to warm up your body after you drink cold water. Okay. Second of all, fix your sleep. Your sleep is extremely important. Getting 7 to 8 hours is extremely important for hormone regulation. Okay, so you can wake up and be less hungry. When you sleep well, your ghrelin goes down, your leptin goes up. Your leptin is your satiety hormone, your ghrelin is your hunger hormone. Okay, not only that, it helps with muscle recovery. Okay, you also activate growth hormone in your sleep. Okay, not only that, but sleep. I mean, first of all, who doesn't like to sleep? Okay, um, but this is it. It's so important to fix your sleep. It's a huge factor. Okay, there was a study done, and I've even put a video about this on my Instagram of how people who got 8.5 hours of sleep compared to a group of people who got 5.5 hours of sleep were able to retain 55% more lean mass. The group with only 5.5% of lean mass in the same calorie deficit, the group with 5.5 hours of sleep, lost 55% more lean mass than the other group. They lost the same weight, but 55% of it was from lean mass, not fat. Okay? Extremely helpful for fat loss. Fasting. I personally fast, right? I didn't fast, right? I was scared to fast. I was like, oh, it's going to mess with my metabolism. I was like, oh, I'm not going to feel energized throughout the day, this and that. It's not true. For me, it's quite the opposite, honestly. So I started off fasting doing 12-12. Okay. So 12 hours eating, 12 hours no eating. What happens when I do this, right? You kind of reduce the window of eating, therefore reducing the amount of calories you consume that day or can consume that day because you're going to be fuller between breaks. You're not going to have as much time to to like snack to all of these things which are going to help you reduce calories. Okay. I personally fast. I like to do it. I think it's good. Okay. What I do right now is I do a 14-10. So I do 14 hours without eating and I do 10 hours eating. Okay. This is usually what I do, but I also sometimes do 16-8, sometimes 18-6. Okay. However, let me explain to you. It looks like a lot of time. It really does, right? And I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna have to do so much this. I'm gonna like feel so hungry. I'm gonna have to, like be stressing about my hunger, this and that. Let me explain to you. If you do 12-12, if at 9 p.m. you have your last meal, at 9 a.m. you can have your first meal. If you do 14-10, if at 9 p.m. you have your last meal, at 11 a.m. you can have your first meal. Okay. So fasting is so good. And plus, I feel like so much more mental clarity. I feel so much more focused in the morning when I fast. It's For me, it's been a game changer. Carb cycling. Carb cycling is amazing. Okay. What is carb cycling? Carb cycling basically is just pairing the amount of carbs you have with the amount of activity you do that day. Okay. So if you have a high activity day, if you're going to the gym, you're going on a run, you're doing this and that, you're going to eat more carbs that day. If you're just going to the gym or you're just doing one thing, maybe you're going to have it more moderately. Okay. And on days in which you're resting, you're going to have low carb days, right? This is, first of all, going to teach your body to, first of all, it's going to regulate your insulin. Okay. It's going to improve your insulin sensitivity. Second of all, it's going to teach your body to be metabolically more flexible. So to be able to transfer from fat burning and glucose burning. Okay, so burning carbs for fuel or burning fat for fuel. Does that make sense? Because you're going to be doing this constant switch in days in which you're going to have more carbs available and days in which you're going to have less carbs available. So your body's going to have to be able to understand to make that switch from using carbs and using fat for fuel. It's going to help you burn more fat. Okay. Also, on high carb days, your calories may even go on the surplus, right? You may even go a bit more over your maintenance. However, on low carb days, you're going to go extremely lower, right? And you're going to be fueling yourself basically with just protein and fats, okay? And the more protein you have, the more satiated you will be, okay? So the less you're going to eat. It's amazing, carb cycling, okay? Fiber. Fiber is really good for your gut health, extremely good for your gut health, which has so many benefits for your body, okay? Including it feeds this bacteria, it helps this bacteria that ferments fiber, okay, into short chain fatty acids. What this does is it also improves your body's signaling and ability to prioritize and use more fat for fuel, to convert fat into fatty acids to then use for fuel. Okay. So fiber is amazing. It also helps with so many other health stuff. Also leaves you more satiated because your body cannot process fiber. Helps with colon cancer. Okay, fiber is amazing. Then we have iodine and selenium. Iodine and selenium are the two primary supplements that help with your thyroid function. Your thyroid basically is this like butterfly gland that you have in your throat, that butterfly looking gland that produces your hormones T3 and T4, which are responsible for regulation of your metabolism. Okay, so by improving your iodine intake and your selenium intake, you can improve your thyroid function. Okay, so if you have like hypothyroidism, I'm not going to say to do this because I'm not an expert, I'm not a medic. So you should check with a medic what you should do. Okay, this is not medical advice. So iodine and selenium. Okay, iodine you should have 150 micrograms. However, that's extremely hard to measure. So unless you have like a actual like analysis of your food, you can't measure. It's like extremely hard. So just do more of these foods. Okay, more of seafood, more of dairy, more of eggs, and iodized salt. It helps a lot. Okay, and then selenium, you should have 55 micrograms. However, like I said, it's extremely hard to measure that. So you just want to indulge more in seafood, Brazil nuts, and red meat. Okay, also chicken. Sorry, not just red meat, meat in general. Then coffee. Coffee for me also acts as a appetite suppressant. Okay. And talking about appetite suppressants, something I forgot to mention about the fiber is Your fiber helps with GLP-1 and PYY, which are hormones that help and are regulators of your appetites and appetite, therefore appetite suppressors. Okay. Coffee, like I said, acts as a appetite suppressant for me and gives me more energy. Lastly, we have progress tracker. This is really good to understand if what you're doing is actually working or not. Okay, so how do I track my progress right now? Like, you look in the mirror and you can tell, okay, I look skinnier, okay, I look fatter, right? This is like more long term using the mirror. Okay, however, progress pictures, taking a picture now and taking a picture after, that you can actually see and effectively detailed in a detailed manner look, okay, is this working, is this not working? Okay, weight, measure your scale. While your scale may not say everything, because you can be getting leaner and still gaining weight, you're right, you're gaining muscle. Also, your body's weight fluctuates a lot. Okay, so it's not the most um, precise in like a short term. However, over time, if the trend is the weight, the scale is going down, it's working, right? If that's the trend. Strength. If you are stronger, if you are progressing in your exercises, you are building more muscle. That's a clear indicator that you are making progress. Okay. And lastly, mood. When you eat better, when you work out, when you walk, when you do all of these things, your mood improves. You naturally you're more energized. You're not eating as many processed foods. You're not putting as much bad stuff in your body. Your mood improves. You feel better. You're more energized. So this is my blueprint and my guide for sustainable fat loss. Hope it's been helpful. See you on the next one.